Welcome to the Salmon Archive.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Sam Salmon Archive podcast. I have some members of the staff here today, and we're going to do a discussion today that's a little bit different. Rather than talk about music or movies or literature, we're going to talk about dreams. Dreams are really just stories or images that come into our minds while we sleep. And they can certainly be very vivid. I know some of my dreams seem like they're actually happening. They can be confusing. They can be rational. They can make you feel happy, sad, or scared. I'm just going to open this up. Who here has a dream that he or she'd like to share? Nick.
Okay, so this happens a lot, and it's sort of the reason that I'm like bad at getting up. So I have this dream where somebody comes in my room and wakes me up, and like it's just or it's either that or like my alarm goes off and I wake up. It's just somehow I'm getting up. I check my phone, and then the dream's over. But it is so just like weirdly detailed. Everything is the same as it would have been if that had actually happened. So I always believe that it actually happens. And then when I wake up late for class or something, I'm so confused. I was like, I woke up already.
Nick, what you described is a common dream that people have. In fact, does that happen to you often? Do you have that same dream time
Very
after
often.
time? Okay, it's also called a recurring dream. People dream that they're up, getting ready for work, starting their day when they're really hitting the snooze button and falling back asleep. Izzy, how about you? What type of dream will you share with us this morning?
I had a dream where I got pushed off a cliff.
So, a question about the dream of you being pushed off a cliff. Did you know you were dreaming?
I don't know because it felt very real because my body did that fake fall thing. So I had a dream where I got pushed off and I was falling. So yeah.
The fake fall thing is also common. Now, what I asked about whether or not you knew you were dreaming, there is something called lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming means we know we're dreaming despite the fact it feels very real. Izzy, is your dream a recurring dream like Nick's getting ready for school dream?
Not really, but sometimes. It just really depends.
So I want to piggyback on that falling thing because that happens to me too. How many of you have experienced what felt like falling in a dream? Katie's hand shot up. Katie, you want to talk to us about those dreams?
I'm not sure what to say. I remember when I was little, I had this one dream, and I went to prison for something I did. I don't know. It was really weird. And um, at the end, I got punished because the lady working there, she pushed me down this long chimney, and it really felt like I was falling. But something I remember, I woke up screaming, like really screaming, and it was weird because I didn't wake up and start screaming. I was screaming in my sleep. I keep thinking about that. Kind of weird.
Your dream being arrested, and I'm going to let Nick talk in just a second here. That sounds like it may have crossed the line to become what's called a nightmare. I know that people also call them night terrors. Would you consider that dream a nightmare?
No, not really. I kind of recovered as soon as I woke up.
Okay,
But I consider nightmares things that stick with you for a while.
got it. Nick, what do you want to say?
Okay, so it has nothing to do with, well, it has a little bit to do with falling. So basically, when I was like 5, 6, or 7, somewhere around there, I had a dream where it was Halloween, and like I was going around with my friends, and what happened was there was just like an extremely weird amount of like rain falling, and it's so but that was like normal. It's just rain, but there's a lot. Okay, it's Halloween, we're still gonna do a trick-or-treating. Then later into the night, um the sky turned like purple and a bunch of monsters started down and they tried to like kill me. um and there were like all these like animals that are like super nice and like cuddly normally. They were like just ravaged and like had bones sticking out, and they were trying to like murder me. And like um
That's
I was just,
crazy.
yeah.
Nick, why do you think we dream about things like monsters or we dream about being murdered? Why is that something that we do when we're sleeping?
I have zero clue.
I have a suggestion as to why that might happen, but I want to open the floor to Emma and Grace. Emma, talk to us about your dreams. Do you have any recurring dreams or do you have any lucid dreams you want to share?
I don't know if this is exactly like lucid dreams, but like I have random ones sometimes where it's like I'm running around school, except it's not school, and it's like a bunch of different buildings mixed together, and everybody keeps trying to get me to do stuff while I'm in the middle of trying to get to my classes. So I have to go on like 6 different mini missions and do stuff. And then by the time I reach class, it's like halfway over. And then the teacher is like this really weird dude, and he just looks creepy, and he starts screaming at me, and then I go sit down, and it changes. Like I don't remember all the details because it changes, but this is like really annoying.
Yeah, does that creepy teacher offer you a hat by chance?
No.
That's a joke with Isabella. Just messing with Izzy. Katie's hand shot up. Izzy, I will never let it down. For the record, podcasters, Izzy thought it was creepy that we made some Sam Salmon hats, and I said I would deliver them. Sorry, Iz.
Ow.
Katie, I will never let you off the hook, Izzy. Go ahead, Katie. Your hand shot up, and then I'm going to talk to Grace.
So since I was just talking about lucid dreams, I thought about this one dream I had, and I found it so weird. I've never forgotten about it, but it was a lucid dream, and I was at Giant Eagle, the grocery store, and I met this girl there. And at the time, I was really obsessed with The Greatest Showman, and I was excited to meet her because she also liked that musical.
Mm-hmm.
And we exchanged phone numbers. And when I woke up, I remembered her phone number. And I tried to contact it, but no one responded. But I find it so weird. I got a phone number in my dream.
Yeah, that is
And
kind
I
of
remembered
weird.
it.
How could you explain that? That is super weird.
I don't know. I mean, I guess like maybe I was the one that asked for it, but she was really nice. I wish I knew her in real life, but maybe I just wanted to find a way to talk to her outside of a dream.
Grace, tell us about your dreams. What have you experienced?
A lot of weird stuff. I mean, there's times where I've dreamed about me and my mom going to Aldi and buying all of the produce and canned soup. I've had dreams about my friends pushing me off cliffs, and then the next day, one of them tripped me in the hallway at school. And then there's like other stuff. Like I dream about books and math, which is just weird to me. But yeah.
Now, that could be explained, Grace, because one of the things I learned about in preparing for this podcast is many of the dreams we have are a result of what we think about before we go to sleep. So if you're watching a scary movie, you might dream of that monster. If you're doing math during the day, you might dream of math when you're sleeping. Emma has a weird fact about dreams. Then I'm going to jump over to Izzy. Emma, what's your weird fact about dreams?
So in one of my many long periods of time of scrolling through random facts on my phone, I found one that just stuck with me for some reason. And apparently the human brain cannot create a face. You can only like use faces that you've seen before. So every random person that you think you've never seen in your dream, you've actually seen somewhere.
That's pretty goofy and scary, to be honest with you. Izzy, go ahead. Why don't you chime in? Because I know you wanted to talk a little bit about some creepy dreams.
Well, this one's just a funny dream. So I had a dream about disco sheep and fairies.
Yeah, that is a funny dream.
I don't know why, but I had it like fourth grade, and I still remember every bit of that dream because it was just so weird and funny, and it's just really random. But I think the main reason why I remember it is because the reason why I think I had that dream, is because I read a fantasy book before I fell asleep. So I think that contributed to it, but I don't know where the disco sheep came in.
It may have contributed to it. I want to share my screen for a second, and I will explain for the podcast listeners what I'm showing. I don't know if you're aware of this, but in 2018, Burger King launched a failed campaign for something they called the Nightmare King. They had a green bun burger that they said would cause nightmares, and it failed. It turned out that people weren't interested in eating food that might lead them to dream about scary things. Did you know this happened in 2018? It was such a bust that it only appeared in some Burger Kings. And I thought it was really interesting that they thought that that would be something people would like. Who had the next comment?
I actually remembered another fact. So apparently, if you drink a bunch of apple juice before you go to bed, it's supposed to make your dreams more vivid.
You know, I've seen that too. And it's not just apple juice, it's any liquid that has like a lot of sugar in it. So if you drink Kool-Aid, for example, before you sleep and you can fall asleep, there's a good chance you're going to have vivid dreams. Katie's on the record as saying that she'd like to try the burger. Would you have that green bun burger, Katie?
Yeah. I have nightmares a lot. I'm kind of immune to them at this point. I just have them so much. I know they're not real, and so they don't bother me anymore. But I want to see like what would have happened. Maybe it would have been like maybe it was just a placebo thing. They expect like placebo to have to do its thing, and people think this burger is gonna give me nightmares. If they really believe that, their mind's gonna give them nightmares. So that's what they thought was gonna happen. I'm really curious if it would work.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I have some nightmares too, and Izzy is mentioning in the chat about something called sleep paralysis. Izzy, tell us about it because that's something I've experienced before.
So it's basically when I think you're still asleep, I'm not quite sure, but you like wake up in like your dream, I think, and you're like, and you look over at something like the corner of your room or at the end of your bed, and you'll see a shadowy monster thing there just staring at you. And there's no like physical features of it, at least when I have dreamed of it. Um, it just has glowing eyes and it's just all black. And you're like frozen there, like you can't blink or anything. And it's really scary because I've had it multiple times. And at one point, it really creeped me out where the monster thing like came towards me, and it was just so scary.
Izzy, describe what you saw. Was it an entity? Was it a monster? Was it a figure that was in black? What did you see?
It was like a figure. There was no like, it was just like an outline of a person, and it was just like a shadow, kind of. And had like the shape of a human, but there was, like I said, like no physical features of.
Did you know, Izzy, that when we're dreaming, especially when we're in sleep paralysis, a 1 minute dream can feel like 30 minutes?
Yeah, and one thing I found that helped me get out of those types of dreams, if you start breathing really heavy, at least it worked for me. If you start breathing really heavy, because then you'll know, like, you'll like, why am I doing this? And you'll like wake up, and that's helped me get out of those before. But it's like really spooky.
Who else has had that feeling where you're awake but you can't move? You may or may not have sensed something else in the room. Has anyone else had that?
I had it once.
And what was that like for you, Katie?
It was weird. I think I might have told this story before to people privately, but like I was at the time I was sleeping, I shared the room with my sister, and I woke up and I looked over her face and she looked like a monster, like really vividly. She looked like a monster, and I couldn't move, and I was just lying there. I couldn't even react, and it was terrifying. I don't know how it ended. I just remember waking up that morning.
Yeah,
Terrified.
that would be a jarring way to wake up. I haven't had one for a while, but for a few years earlier in my career, I was having sleep paralysis dreams where I would imagine this faceless, nameless entity in my room. And it actually scared me enough that I sketched a picture of it, which is crazy. I think it's on my old cell phone. I'll share it with you sometimes. I promise I'm not a crazy person. Nick, what do you want to say about this?
Okay, so not that I've never had like sleep paralysis or anything, not that I can remember at least. But what I do have is anytime I'm in my room, I am constantly looking around, even if I'm watching a show or anything, I'm constantly looking around to make sure there's not a murderer that just crawled into my room.
So, Nick, that brings me to something else I had thought about before this. Do you keep like doors open or closed when you're sleeping? Is your bedroom door closed? Is it open? How about your like closet door? Is it open? Is it closed? What do you do?
My closet door stays open, and my room door stays closed and locked.
We are very peculiar about the way we sleep with our closet doors and our bedroom doors. I know Izzy doesn't have a bedroom door, but how about everybody else here? Do you keep your doors open, closed, closets open, closed?
Whenever I'm in my room, my door has to be closed. Like I cannot be in my bedroom, whether I'm awake or asleep. And my closet door, it has to be closed at all times. Can't even be cracked. I hate it.
Nick, go ahead. You want to fill in the gap here?
Yeah, I have a reason why I usually leave a closet door open because my fear is always that if somebody crawls in my room while I'm not in here through like a window or something, they can just go in my closet and like sit there till I it's like 1 or 2 in the morning and then just come out and murder me.
That's pretty scary. In fact, 55% of people who dream regularly dream about being murdered. And I have no idea what that says. My guess is if you think of media, we love crime shows. I just watched a documentary on this hotel in California with my wife.
Hotel Cecile?
Yes, yeah, we watched it. And it involves this woman, Elisa Lam, who went missing and ended up being found dead on the property. But we watch those things so frequently as a society, and I think it fills our head with these thoughts of murder and crime, and it leads to these dreams. Who wants to go next? I have a few other facts if nobody's ready to speak. A typical dream lasts 5 to 20 minutes, but can seem much longer. Every person dreams. We dream about 4 to 6 times every night, but 95% of us forget our dreams instantly when waking up, which leads me to another thing. How many of you have been a sleepwalker before? Because that's about 15% of dreamers. Okay, I have 3 hands up. Izzy, start us off. You've been a sleepwalker?
Yeah, it can get really weird sometimes because you don't even remember anything. Like you don't remember, you just like wake up somewhere else, or like you wake up sleepwalking and it's just like, how did I get here? And I've done it where I've actually walked downstairs before and like got something out of the fridge and started making a sandwich. And I woke up while I was making a sandwich and I was so confused.
I'm going to get back to the sleepwalking thing, but I have to talk about Mr. Bacco for a second. Those of you who might know him, he actually is a sleep eater. He goes into the kitchen and he'll pound food and he'll leave the kitchen an absolute mess that his wife had to like lock food up. Emma, yeah, go ahead. Fill in the gap here. What do you want to say?
Okay, so I don't think I sleepwalk anymore. I was a bit younger whenever this happened, but I have like 3 stories that stuck in my brain. The first one is I apparently got up and I walked downstairs because my bedroom's on the 3rd floor, and I went in to the room where my parents were watching TV, and I started like begging them to let me play Mario, except I had asked if I could eat Mario.
Oh, God. Poor Mario.
And then another one is I would constantly like have to use the bathroom, so I would get up and I would go to the bathroom, and then I would just wake up and I'm just like sitting on the toilet. And it's like that happened a lot and it was really weird.
Yeah. So you wonder like how you got there, why you were there. I've been in the bathroom. I've been in the yard. It's been years since this happened. But when I was a kid, I used to sleepwalk. Katie, do you sleepwalk often?
I don't do it that much anymore, but when I was little, I did it a lot. And I remember this one story. It was on Halloween night, which makes it a little bit creepier.
Yeah, it does.
But I walked downstairs, and we have a light switch at the bottom of the stairs that controls the lights upstairs. And I was flicking it on and off and on and off, and I was laughing really loudly, like, oh, I sounded really creepy. And my dad, he heard me, he was like, Katie, what's going on? Are you okay? And I stared at him, like, hi. And I came back upstairs, and then it was like pretty much over, but it happened again, and in the same night, and I was over by his bed, and I was just staring at him laughing. Laughing.
Yeah, that could be jarring for the person who's sleeping in bed if you wake up and you see somebody.
Yeah, it must have been really creepy. And on Halloween night.
Yeah, that sounds great, to be honest with you. That's a great story. Izzy, tell me about phobias. You think phobias and dreams are tied?
I don't know if they are, but I think it can sometimes be tied because I have multiple dreams where because I have a big phobia of being buried alive and um the deep part of the ocean, and I've had multiple dreams, I guess you could say recurring,
Yeah.
where I've been buried alive, and I've also been in the deep part of a lake or an ocean, and I think that can phobias can be some sort of tying to dreams.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'd like to do a little more study on that. Emma thinks that fears are 100% tied to dreams. Emma, I have a fear of spiders, and sometimes spiders end up in my dreams. And I think that's sort of saying what you and Izzy are suggesting. Nick, I see your hands up. You want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, so I've never slept walk or anything. But what I have done is slept talk. Um, so when I was little, I used to just anytime I was dreaming, whether it was some really complex dream or the most simple dream of all, I would just start talking in my sleep. Because in one time, I remember I was over at my grandma's house because my mom and dad went on a trip or something, and I had fallen asleep. And in the middle of my sleep, I started screaming about how androids were going to take over the world.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Katie says that her little brother complained in his sleep all the time. So, Katie, what is he just talking and about things that happened to him, or what?
Well, he never really talks about anything specific, but what I've heard is he'll just be groaning and he'll say, "Stop, stop. Oh my gosh, stop." And sometimes he even says "Katie, stop," or "Elise, ah." It's really funny.
Yeah, what is he thinking? So, Emma, what did you want to say about the idea of fear and dreams?
So I have had multiple dreams that are based on fears of mine. One of them is the reoccurring school dream, and then also I've had lots of dreams where I'm being chased around, and it ends whenever I get caught. One
Yeah.
of them I was a spy, and my mom was dead 3 years ago. My dad had disappeared, and I was on a spy mission, and then my mom's grave erupted in flowers, and it was really weird. But
That is really weird.
and then I had another one a long, long time ago whenever I was at a carnival. And have you ever watched Despicable Me?
Yeah.
And with the scene with where she gets the unicorn, and there was that creepy vendor guy running the game.
Yes.
Okay, so that guy, he was following me around, except you never saw his face. His was covered in red hair, and he just kept popping up out of nowhere and pulling my pants down.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes I have these dreams that play out in movies and books as well. Or I've seen a movie or book and then I think I'm in the dream. I think we talked about Avatar recently in our other podcast. I swear to you, I had a dream that I was part of Avatar. I was in the rainforest. I was one of those blue avatars. I was in the movie, and it was right after we talked about it. It was so bizarre. We haven't heard from Grace for a while. Grace, are you just rolling your eyes at all this, or can you talk about some of your experiences too?
I can talk about a dream I had. When I was really little, 4 or 5, I was obsessed with Mickey Mouse, and specifically the Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol. I don't know why, but that was my favorite thing. And I had this dream where the one guy from it, I don't know his name, but he trapped me and my family in a volcano.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you, just like the rest of us, have had some of these thoughts and feelings. Izzy, did you want to talk about something that might be a little bit funnier?
Yeah, I have a couple funny dreams. They're really short. I had a dream where I went over to Emma's house and we ate cookie dough, and then her house fell into a sinkhole.
Oh, God.
It was very weird. I don't know where that came from.
How much of the cookie dough did you eat?
Well, let me get to that. Instead of making sure everybody was okay, I can't even say it. We went to make sure the cookie dough was okay.
Not happening.
That's priorities, right, Izzy?
Yeah.
Nick, go ahead, and then we'll come back to Izzy for another one. Nick, what did you want to add?
Okay. So I also had a really funny dream. Like, it wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. I have really irrational fear of what are they called? Insects. And I also have fear of architects. That's another story. But I have fear of insects for no reason. But there was this one dream I had, and it was just a bunch of like weirdly like colored like bees. They were like, and just weird insects that were just huge, and they were like all made up in my head, and they were just disgusting. They were all trying to kill me. My parents were like trying to kill me too, because they were like, the bees are gonna kill you. You need to go see them. They're gonna do what's best. And I was like,
were these bees like super bee or anything? Were they super big or like super like stingers, or were they normal bees? I didn't catch that. Were they normal bees?
They were like completely massive.
Yeah, it's odd how we enhance things when we sleep, for sure. Emma says she's had a dream about big bees killing her. Really? What was that about?
So I was at my grandma's house, and I think this was like right after she had moved into the woods and like in this big house, except it was like in my dream, it was a way bigger house and there was a pavilion and a field. So we were having a picnic in the pavilion, and then everyone who was there turned into the characters from Phineas and Ferb. And then those characters, they like said something really ominous, and then they disappeared. The grass in the field started like getting really, really tall. And then there was this really loud buzzing sound. And I started walking into the grass, and then this bee, like that was like the size of me, came out of nowhere. And then I accidentally stepped on another one that was in the ground, and then they killed me, and I woke up because I died.
Yikes. Hey, Emma just proved her vocabulary is advanced. She dropped ominous in this podcast, which was super cool. Izzy, what did you want to add? You had something else. Something about a dream, and you said hex kitchen. Are you substituting a different word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I had a dream where I was on there, and like I was like the best cook out of everybody, which isn't surprising, but like anyway. And I met Gordon Ramsay, and that was really weird. He started calling people donuts and donkeys and giraffes, and it was really weird. And then somehow I ended up winning in like one competition.
It sounds weird. Hey, anything, was it young Gordon or old Gordon?
I think it was old Gordon.
It was old Gordon. Okay. Hey, how many of you listen to noises when you sleep, like intentionally? Like the Calm app, or like the sound of rain, or I see Emma and Katie. What do you listen to when you sleep? Because I think that sometimes impacts what we dream too.
Well, it kind of depends. It's all over the place. Sometimes I just listen to like plain white noise. Sometimes crowds talking. Sometimes thunderstorms. Sometimes the ocean. But other times I listen to audiobooks while I'm falling asleep, just because I feel like they affect my dreams. I don't know why, but I feel like they affect my dreams. Like I enter the book.
I think that's pretty cool. In fact, I do all those things too. I sometimes listen to thunderstorms. Sometimes I listen to like a creek running. If you don't have it on your phones and you have a smartphone, get what is called the Calm app. It's super cool. It has all these noises and sounds, and it really helps you sleep. I haven't really done like the audiobook yet, but that sounds interesting. Who else had something to say about sounds at night?
I sometimes listen to the radio. Because I purposely pick the station that has commercials because I like listening to commercials as I go to bed. I don't know why. And I don't always fall asleep with it on, but I'll either listen to the radio, I'll listen to like 4 songs on repeat, or I'll just have my fan on. I always sleep with my fan on. But
yeah. I have 2 fans on. Now, it's been a while since I've been in a hotel, but the first thing I do when I get in a hotel room is I jack that AC up as high as it'll go, because I love a super cold room when I'm sleeping. Temperature also can impact our dreams. If you're hot and you're tossing and turning, your dream can be more tumultuous than if you're bundled up under the covers and you're not, sweating or whatever it may be. Izzy, you want to say something and then Nick can go?
Oh yeah, there's like a lot of good like a couple hour long sounds on YouTube that I listen to. And I normally just listen to the Avatar music, Last Airbender, not the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's actually very relaxing, and I've often had like better dreams because it's really soothing and it's really peaceful. So I don't have many weird dreams anymore, but yeah.
That is somewhat interesting. I read something else that I thought was cool before Nick goes. I read that blind people who are born blind, actually have dreams and visualize things in their dreams. And I don't know how that could be. How could that be, right? If you're blind and you can't see anything, you can visualize when you dream. I just think that's super interesting. Go ahead, Katie. You want to weigh in on that?
I think, do you know, if you just like try to imagine something, you don't actually see anything, but you kind of have the idea that you're looking at it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That might kind of be what their dreams are like, because when we have dreams, people who can see perfectly, or at least pretty well, it really feels real. But maybe when blind people dream, they kind of more have the concept that they're seeing things, not actually seeing them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
For the
That's
record, I think
weird.
blind would be the worst sense to lose. I think sight would be the worst sense to lose, for sure. Hearing is my second choice. Nick, you're up, man.
All right. So when I sleep, I listen to Netflix, and like, I mean, listen, like, I make sure the video isn't playing because that keeps me up.
Yeah.
But I need the sound of just like, it could be either like just a like normal, like very serious show, or it could be like Portlandia. It varies so much.
Now, Portlandia, that's like is that on Adult Swim? Is that what the name of that show is?
I don't know if it is. I don't think so.
Is it comedy?
Yeah, it is very funny. It's about people who live in Portland, Oregon, and
Yeah.
they're just like making fun of like people who are like, like the joke is that they're like stuck in the 90s or
Okay.
80s or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm stuck in 2008, so I can certainly relate to that.
Okay.
Did you want to add anything else before I call on somebody else?
Nope.
Okay, Izzy, your hand's up. Go ahead.
I had a dream where I met Russia's leader. It was very weird. I think it was either last night or the night before because we were talking about Russia, me and Emma. And
Vladimir Putin?
Yeah.
Okay. That is kind of weird.
I don't know why, because we were talking about Russia, because I can do a really good Russian accent, and me and Emma just started talking about it. So then I got a YouTube video recommended to me of him, and It was weird. It was where he was walking through whatever he lives, that giant place, I don't know what they call it there. And it was him walking to staying alive, and it was really funny. And it was just a weird dream. I'm weird. I can't help it.
You may very well be weird. I think we all are in our own ways, but I don't know if your dream is the reason you're weird, because some of the dreams we have are just so outlandish that they're hard to explain, right?
Yeah, I don't know where the heck that came from. It was weird.
Nick, go ahead.
I actually know a little bit of Russian. Нет, yeah, sorry, нет, я не.
What does that mean?
That means no, I don't.
That's good. You sounded Russian.
Really?
I'll give you an 8 out of 10. Not bad. Grace.
Okay.
Grace, tell us where we should go next.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we can talk about spooky dreams. We can talk about funny dreams. We can talk about dreams that come true, because some people actually dream things and they happen.
How about the ones that come true?
Okay, so there are stories out there, and all it takes is a Google search where people dream certain things, like that maybe something bad will happen if they go to work the next day. So they don't go, and then something bad happens. It's really bizarre. In their dream, they sense danger, and then they somehow avoid it. And I wonder, now obviously, did they lie? They could have just lied, but they say they have like a premonition in our dreams. And I think that's really kind of weird and super interesting. I don't know if you've heard of the Unsolved Mysteries show, but there was a group of people that would meet at a church. I don't know if it was like a youth group or what it was. They all had a bad dream and decided to stay home the next day. And it was the same day the church happened to explode because there was a gas leak there. All of the people claim that they had the same dream. Isn't that weird? Can dreams be like predict the future?
I don't know if it's like necessarily predicting the future like fully, but like thinking maybe, oh my gosh, maybe they were aliens and then they made it happen. Their dreams didn't predict the future, they shaped the future.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like if you go and look, I'm looking at an article right now on healthline.com. It says, what's up with dreams that seem to predict the future? It's really bizarre. And there's really like no understanding as to why it happened. But I do know that Abraham Lincoln himself wrote about a dream 2 weeks before his assassination, where he dreamed of walking through the White House until he came upon his own dead body lying in state in the East Room. He wrote about it. And then 2 weeks later, his body, sure enough, was placed in the East Room.
Oh,
Now, that could be a coincidence, but that's a real thing. Grace, go ahead. Your hand went back up.
So that just reminded me, in ancient empires, we were learning about like Caesar being like assassinated and stuff, and his wife actually had like a vision dream type thing about him like going to the Senate meeting or whatever, and then him being killed there.
Yeah.
And she told him not to go, but he went anyway. So that's why.
Yeah, there was a warning, right? Beware the Ides of March also. Like he wasn't supposed to go, and he went, and well, we all know what happened to Caesar. Nick, go ahead.
First of all, he got killed, murdered. Second of all, when I was like, I think it was in second grade. We were going to this musical. It was like Junie B. Jones musical or something. For school, and the night before, I had like a dream where I was just like getting extremely sick, like so sick that I was gonna die, and then I woke up sick, like not like so sick that I was gonna die, obviously, but like it was like scary because I felt like because when I woke up, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die because I'm sick. That's what happened in my dream, so that's what's gonna happen in real life, and I was just freaking out.
Yeah, that would freak me out as well. Izzy, go ahead.
I had a dream before, and this is really scary. Where in my dream I was going to my grandma's, and I almost got kidnapped. And the next day, because we normally go on Fridays, but we don't do it as much anymore, obviously, right now. But when I was walking to my grandma's, the same exact car in my dream was down the street I was walking, and then the person in there started talking to me, and it was really scary. It was just weird and scary.
Now, I do think it's true that our mind can see what we want to see. You know what I mean by that is?
No.
Okay, so sometimes, like, say you dream about a fight, right? The next day, you might wake up angry and actually have a fight with somebody. And I think that your mind plays a role in that. Or like in the example with the car, are you sure it was the same car from the dream, or did it look similar?
It was like almost the same exact. I don't remember like if it was like the same license plate or anything.
Yeah.
It was basically the same car.
So how do you all feel about psychics? You know, like people putting like psychics, they sometimes they sense things in their dreams and then they predict. Nick, go ahead. You're blinking.
Yeah. So yesterday, actually, yesterday, I learned that Long Island Medium is fake. I knew she couldn't actually predict the future or anything, but I just learned the show was fake yesterday. Anyway, psychics, to an extent, I believe them. They're not talking to my dead first cousin's wife's grandma's cat's pet mouse, but they can I'm sure they can sense something
Yeah, I'm sure they can too. You know that animals can dream, Nick?
Really?
Absolutely. In fact, now that you have a new pup, watch your pup sleep. They make all the motions and movements of somebody who's a human dreaming. It's really quite cool.
Whoa, that's awesome.
It is. I think it's really cool. A couple of other things that I thought were a little bit interesting about this. You know that sometimes people who dream, they do it in a way that they like sort of can cause themselves to become sick. You could dream stress, all right, and actually develop stress as a result of a dream. And I think that's super weird. Izzy, go ahead.
Well, this isn't like the same of like what we're just talking about, but I just wondered, has anybody had those dreams where like you think it's like you're dreaming and then in your dream you wake up and then like okay, wait, I can't explain it right. So like when you think your dream is over, like another dream starts. Like
Yeah, like you're dreaming in the dream, and you wake up from the dream in the dream, and now you're
Yeah.
still in. Oh
yeah.
my god, this happens to me all the time.
Oh yeah, that's a movie too. Isn't that called Inception? It's a dream inside of a dream. It has Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think they like just put that on Netflix because I added it to my list.
Yeah. I think it's pretty good. You should watch it.
I had something I wanted to bring up because Izzy brought up something.
Yeah.
But has anyone else? It really only happened when I was little. But did anyone else have that moment where when you were little, your mind would just shut off, and you'd go through 8 hours in the blink of an eye? Like you'd close your eyes and immediately it'd be morning.
Yeah.
That's
oh my god! I could still do it. It was so fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, apparently it happens to other people, but I wonder why. And it most commonly happens to little kids. I just wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. Emma, go ahead.
Okay, so Katie talking about like whenever we were little having weird things, it made me think of this reoccurring dream that I had. So I would be like in this really weird setting, kind of like from Dora. And it was like in the jungle or whatever, and there was a lot of brown, and then there would be this gigantic like bearded dragon iguana lizard hybrid thing, and it would just sit there, and I was tiny compared to it, and it would just pet me, and it would like talk to me like I was a small pet, and it would treat me like an animal, and it was really weird and creepy, and it would pet me.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. How would you like explain that? Do you have any explanation?
I have no idea, but I still think about it, and it's disturbing.
Yes, it is. Nick, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment about like humans because I don't know why it just popped in my head. You know, like human brains are 90% water.
Yeah, I know. Well, what's like the percentage of water in a human body? Isn't that like over 90% too?
And in a human body, it's about 60%.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I knew that we were made up largely of, well, me, peanut butter, and bacon. But other than that, there's a lot of water there as well. Okay, but before we wrap it, I think we should take one opportunity to tell the scariest or the funniest dream we've ever had. Okay, the scariest or the funniest dream we ever had. Who wants to go first? I can go first. The scariest dream that I have is a recurring dream, and it actually happens almost every night. And I think it started when the show The Walking Dead became a thing, because I dream about zombies taking over the world. And in my dream, I imagine that they're chasing me. And it's like super bizarre. And I wake up every morning knowing that it's not real, but I have it every night. That's the scariest dream I have. Anybody want to go next? Scariest or funniest? Izzy, go ahead.
Well, like I said, the one with Emma where I was eating cookie dough and then like her house went into a sinkhole and we made sure the cookie dough was okay. Well, there's actually more to it. And then for some reason we went like on a train track and it was really weird. And um the next part where a train started coming and Emma pushed me in front of the train. I don't know why, but it was funny.
Emma committed a crime and shoved her friend in front of a train. It sounds very funny.
But I ended up like going like on top of the train. So it was really weird.
Katie, how about you? Funniest or scariest?
Probably scariest. It might not be that scary to other people, but I have a really bad phobia of skeletons. And like mostly human skeletons. And I had this dream once, and in real time, I felt I was very stressed with school. It was maybe like a few years ago. I was very stressed, and I didn't feel like I was doing well. And I remember my parents in the dream, they took me to this museum as a punishment. And it was full of skeletons and stuff, just a bunch of human skeletons in display cases. And we had to walk around for a while, and I was already terrified. But then I had that moment where, like, in the dream, if you're trying to run away from something, you're like stuck and you can't move.
You always
I had,
fall or slow, or you can't get away.
yeah, I had that moment in the dream, and all the skeletons escaped from the display cases, and they started surrounding me. And oh man, I just couldn't move at all. I was completely stuck, and I was terrified. And it was one of the scariest dreams I've ever had.
That sounds pretty scary. Emma, what do you got for us?
Okay, so this is actually kind of recent, and I completely forgot about it until like 2 minutes ago. But I don't remember all the details, but I started off in school and I was with my friend, and we were in our least favorite class with our least favorite teacher, who I will not name. But so like they were being a major Karen, and like we got all the answers right, and then they were like punishing us, and it was really annoying. So then I got mad and I said something involving Pop Tarts. I don't know how Pop Tarts come into this, but they were there. And then she got really mad and kicked us out. And then there was a bunch of stuff that happened. And oh dang, what happened? Oh, then the cops came, and then my friend and I, we ran away to my house, which was for some reason only like 100 feet away from the school. And
And you called this teacher, who's a woman, and I'm not going to name her or have you name her, a major Karen. Is that what you called her?
Oh yeah,
I love it.
I use that name for I don't like anyone who is like that. But and then there were nuclear explosions.
What?
And we were going to like I was hiding in my room, and there was like a big bang and a flash, and everything went white, and my friend and I were like scared and sitting like under my bed almost. And then my dad came in, and he's like, "Okay, hurry up, pack up a bunch of stuff, and we're going to grandma's house because she lives in the woods like a lot like far away from here." So we were going to do that, but then there was another nuclear explosion, and we all died.
I don't like the end of the dream, but some other parts of the dream are interesting. Let's leave it at that. Okay, who's going to go next? We got a few more people to wrap this thing up. Funniest or scariest dream?
I will, I guess. So there's kind of two things. One thing was this happened the same night. How I fell asleep was like, you know, if you're like laying in bed or something, and you have like one leg um, sort of like in a triangle, and the other leg like on top of it.
Yeah, that's
like
my position of
underneath.
choice when I'm sleeping.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I lay, and it's just really weird because I've never fallen asleep like that. Anyway, my dream was I was at Universal, and did I say I was at Universal when this happened already?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, yeah, I was at Universal, and that day I had ridden the Mummy ride a bunch because it's my absolute favorite ride there, and I sometimes there this one time it was so crowded in the regular queue that we just went through a single riders queue, um and I was just sitting next to these random people while I was I don't know why I'm explaining this. Never mind. So my dream was that instead of like actually getting on the ride and it just being a ride, I was actually like I got in there and it started fire. Everything caught on fire, and I was actually like, burning alive. But I was still like riding on the roller coaster thing, and I was just being taken down farther into a tomb to like be further tortured and killed. Yeah, a little scary.
I would say so too. You lost me there for a minute. You were going around in circles, but you reclaimed it, and I agree that is super scary.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have one more, right? Or is it just two of you left? How many have to go before we wrap this thing? Is that it? All right, wait. Before we wrap this thing up, I do want to say that dreams are hard to describe and explain. And doctors and scientists have researched them a very long time, but that doesn't mean that they're ever going to actually know what they need to know about them. All right, kids. Hey, great job. Sign off here. I'm going to have this posted to our site. Another good podcast for our listeners. Thank you.